The most surprising mistakes hidden in your favorite animated movies. There's a good chance you've never spotted them, and honestly, even I was caught off guard while putting this video together. Now it's time to reveal them all. Let's get started. Big Hero 6. This movie even won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature back in 2015. Now take a closer look at this scene. It shows the very first meeting between the film's main character, the brilliant young inventor Hiro Hamada, and Robert Callahan, the head of the robotics department at the San Francisco Institute of Technology. As Callahan leans in to examine Hiro's invention, he's clearly wearing a light blue shirt, but as soon as the camera cuts to a side angle, something odd happens. His sleeve suddenly turns maroon. Then, in the next shot, it's blue again like nothing ever happened. That's a pretty noticeable continuity error. Hiro may be a genius, but it's hard to believe he's already created fabric that changes color, depending on the camera angle. Wreck-It Ralph. One of the film's most memorable characters is the lively and mischievous little racer, Vanellope von Schweetz. In one scene, she jumps into her car with a bright, confident smile, and you can clearly see she's missing one of her upper front teeth. Maybe she lost it during one of her wild races, but that detail doesn't stay consistent for long. After speeding through a couple of laps on the candy-coated track, Vanellope hops out to greet Ralph and flashes another smile. Only this time, her missing tooth has magically reappeared. Sure, they say doing what you love can heal you, but that fast? That's a whole new level. By the way, the dumbest mistake in the history of animation will appear toward the end of this video. It's something that will genuinely shock you, so be ready. Now, let's continue. Inside Out. Throughout the film, Riley's mom is almost always shown wearing glasses. However, the filmmakers made a surprisingly noticeable mistake. In the scene where the new parents first meet baby Riley, we see them from behind. And in that shot, Mrs. Anderson's glasses are clearly visible. Just moments later, the perspective shifts to Riley's point of view, and suddenly, the glasses are gone. It's hard to believe that a continuity error like this slipped past dozens of animators and supervisors, and Inside Out has even more subtle mistakes for the most attentive viewers. For instance, in another scene, we once again see things from Riley's perspective. On the floor, there's a long white cable. A few seconds later, the camera angle changes to an external view, but now that exact same cable appears black. And as far as we know, Riley isn't colorblind. Lilo and Stitch. This movie includes a very subtle moment, but once you notice it, it's hard to unsee. During the hula lesson scene, you can spot two drummers in the background. At first, they're both holding identical yellow drums. Same shape, same color. Everything looks perfectly consistent. But if you watch a little more closely, something strange happens. The drummer on the right suddenly has a completely different instrument, right in the middle of the same scene. No movement, no explanation. No reason at all. One moment it's the same drum, and the next it's something entirely different. And the strangest part? Almost nobody notices. This is a classic continuity error, when small details suddenly change between shots, breaking the illusion of the scene. Toy Story. In the third movie of the world-famous franchise, one of the toys suddenly seems to have mastered the art of teleportation. Specifically, one of Mr. Potato Head's eyes. In the scene where Andy takes all his toys out of the box, it's clearly visible that Mr. Potato Head is missing one of the pieces on his face. Just a few seconds later, Andy's mom walks into the room with a camera, and suddenly, the eye has mysteriously returned to its place. Sure, he could have reattached it somehow, but with such rapid cuts, it really feels like there simply wasn't enough time. There's another fun detail as well. Rex is shown with 3 fingers on his hands, even though most scientists believe that this species of dinosaur lost 1 finger during evolution and became 2-fingered. Maybe this T-Rex is just extra prehistoric. Tangled. At first, this moment feels pure and romantic, but there's one detail that quietly ruins it. As Flynn Rider reaches out and gently brushes Rapunzel's hair, everything seems perfect, until you notice his wrist. In one shot, the handcuffs are clearly there. Cut to the next, and they're gone. No unlocking, no movement, no explanation. 1 second he's chained. The next, he's completely free. A classic continuity slip that breaks the scene's logic. And the irony? Even locked up, Flynn somehow escapes, without anyone noticing. And now, as promised, let's take a look at some of the most surprising and unexpected animation mistakes ever made. What makes it even more interesting is that they're hidden in some of the most legendary and beloved animated classics of all time. 101 Dalmatians. The famous animated movie about the spotted dogs begins with Pongo's owner, Roger, taking his beloved pet for a walk in the park. During this ordinary stroll, Pongo spots Perdita and her owner, Anita, nearby. Determined to play matchmaker and impress the new love of his life, the clever dog does everything he can to bring their owners together. First, Pongo tosses Roger's hat toward Anita. When that doesn't work, he takes things to the extreme and tangles Roger and Anita together with the leash so tightly that they both fall into a nearby pond. Now watch closely. Throughout this entire sequence, Anita is calmly reading a book, which she's still holding during the clumsy collision. But when the soaking wet characters climb out of the pond, a handbag suddenly appears in her hands, one that was nowhere to be seen in the previous shots. Now that's some impressive transformation magic. Cinderella. Walt Disney Studios originally released Cinderella all the way back in 1950. At the time, animation was created entirely by hand, and the industry didn't have nearly as many specialists as it does today. Because of that, mistakes in films from that era are a bit more understandable. Still, this one is particularly amusing. At the end of the movie, the joyful princess, who has finally found true love with her handsome prince, runs down the stairs alongside him in her wedding dress. In this moment, she's wearing a light blue gown with long, flowing sleeves. Cinderella waves goodbye to her friends, and just seconds later, we see the final kiss between the bride and groom. And then, something unexpected happens. Her dress has suddenly transformed into white, with short, puffed sleeves. It seems that by the end of production, the animators were simply exhausted. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the very first full-length animated feature in cinema history. Imagine this. Walt Disney Studios released it back in 1937, even before World War II. Modern animated movies have their mistakes, but what about something this old? For example, when the dwarfs discover an uninvited guest in their house, they rush toward her all at once. One dwarf, clumsy and slow, is the last to reach the door. In a panic, he pushes against it, and the doorknob flies off. The dwarf is thrown across the room and ends up under a pile of dishes. A second later, he jumps up and runs out of the house with kitchenware on his head. And the doorknob? It's suddenly right back where it belongs. Comment below if you spotted this or any other mistakes before watching the video. Subscribe and see you next time.